We're glad that you could join us today for the Droplet NeverTrust webinar. My name is Raj Mehta. I'm the Sales Director here at Prianto. Today's webinar is all about how ZeroTrust security approach is not enough and how Droplet's NeverTrust security provides a revolutionary approach to application security and delivery. We've been working with Droplet now for the past 8 years and have seen tremendous success and growth. We have here today with us Derek Steele and Barry Daniels from Droplet, who will share the insights and opportunities Droplet is creating. If you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to drop them into the chat box and we'll have a Q&A at the end. The session is being recorded, which we'll share with you afterwards. Derek, next slide. Just for those of you who don't know Prianto is a specialist distributor of enterprise software and recently is now part of QBS Technology Group that has a presence in 19 different countries across EMEA and revenues of over 600 million. What we do is we help channel partners open new opportunities with innovation and disruptive vendors that drive business outcomes with compelling solutions and high margins. Next slide. Our core pillars are the modern workspace, which really is addressing problems that are not provided by Microsoft. And that really is addressing things like simplifying application management, identifying non-compliant applications, securing legacy applications with transformation, and challenges in migration into Azure and Entra ID. But the key thing in the modern workspace is all around user experience. Second pillar, which is really around observability, around on-premise and the cloud, optimizing clouds, understanding costs, understanding how we can reduce them, and then a range of sustainability solutions. The cybersecurity is really beyond antivirus and EDR and MDR solutions. Here we're looking at real cyber threats. They're using AI for insider threats and understanding machine learning technology to provide fast responses. And then the last piece is around AI and data analytics. And these are solutions that extend Copilot, but really understanding the wider landscape of systems that companies have, which tend to be SAP, Oracle, Salesforce, and mainframes. You know, how you can get the most out of those environments. So really, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Derek and Barry to go through Droplet. Over to you, Derek.
Thanks very much, Raj. So I'll talk you through who Droplet are and give you some key information around the size of the addressable market of the problems and challenges that we fix. So first of all, who are Droplet? So we're a UK-based company with a global presence and a global customer base and partner base as well. We work very closely with hardware vendors, partners and systems integrators to deliver our technology to our customers. The good news for the partner community, we do not sell direct. We're a channel-only vendor. And on average, our proof of concept, so we encourage every customer and every partner to enforce and take, but 86% of our proof of concepts turn into an order within the first 3 months. And I'll explain why as we go through the slides, but the key thing to note is you've either got the problem that we fixed or you haven't, and we can show you it fixed within 24 hours, which is very, very compelling when you actually look at the challenges we overcome. And again, as I mentioned, channel only. And the good news, so what's in it for you as a channel partner? 40% margin if you register an opportunity. Come to us with a qualified opportunity, let us speak to the customer, qualify it in, you will get 40%. Standard pricing would be 15%. And what's quite unique about Droplet is you're protected for 25%, even if you don't close the deal. So if, for example, a customer wants to go through a systems integrator rather than yourself, you will still be protected for 25% of that deal, and the distributor, the SI will get 15. So it's very encouraging to get those deal regs in. And to give you an idea of what that looks like in margin, an average 3-year deal for 600 users, you can make up to 116K. So it's margin rich, and it's probably the easiest conversation you'll have and sale you'll have compared to some of this technology that you sell. And again, I'll explain that as we go through the slide deck. So here's some compelling stats that are only a month old. I got them from Gartner, Forbes, Forrester, and Statista. And it's not, most of you will know this already. Operating systems change every 3 to 5 years. But if you actually look at the stats of how many organizations globally have made that migration, Windows 10 goes end of life in less than 6 months. Still 50% of the world are on Windows 10, and only 36% of the world has adopted Windows 11. So there's something stopping them from moving. What is it and why? I'll explain that as we go on. The same thing happens in the server world. So if you look at the stats of where we are in the worldwide server community, 45% of the world are still using Server 2008. And as a result, we are seen as an organization, I'm quite sure you are also seeing, that cyber accreditation was becoming mandatory. And if you look at the actual facts and figures there, the deadlines, we've passed lots of those deadlines already, right? So the deadline has came and gone, and we're still not at 50% of the pass rate in those particular frameworks. And if you look at the reason why that is, it's actually the very first 2 pillars that I've got on the screen here. Because even if you look at the very bare bones of Cyber Essentials, one of the new rules that came in 2023 was, if you have a software that is no longer supported by the software vendor, it's an automatic fail unless you isolate it from the network and remove it or remove it from the device. And guess what? That's exactly what we do. So we help our customers overcome those challenges, and we can migrate everybody in the first 2 pillars here to Windows 11, Server 2022, and more importantly, achieve that cyber accreditation, which is very important for if you're a C-level director, and this is key. If you're talking to an organization that's providing a service to the public, that C-level director is liable for a compliance fine if they have a breach and they're non-compliant. They could be fined up to 10 million euros, and the company could be fined up to 2% of their annual revenue. That's a massive compelling event that's driving people to get cyber accredited. So how does Droplet help? So we're a lockdown air-gapped container. We're a lightweight Linux-based container, portable, and we can deliver any x86 app to any 64-bit operating system. And that's exactly how we overcome some of those challenges that was on the last slide. We support any hardware, any hypervisor, and any cloud. So wherever your customer is in its journey, we can help them migrate from old to new. And again, that legacy software is one of the biggest challenges with customers adopting new hardware and new technology, and indeed even moving to the cloud. Sometimes those vendors are not compatible, or they just don't let legacy in. We again address all that, and Barry will discuss that in more detail as we go on. So for a CISO, our message for a CISO is we help with the software compatibility challenges that you have and the compliance challenges. We address legacy software and migrate to new, so we can run any legacy software in a new platform, locked down inside a unique container. We support old unsupported operating systems. We can run them on new modern platforms. So Server 2000, 2003, 2008, 2012, and next year, 2016 has been added to that list. And likewise on the client side, XP, Windows 7, and Windows 10. We, again, as I've mentioned, any application delivered via Droplet will automatically pass Cyber Essentials Plus right up to NIS2 and CAF. And we've been pen tested many times over the years by our customers and our partners, and we've yet to fail with any of our customers' challenges. For an IT manager, we simplify and address that hardware compatibility challenge that he's got, especially in the world of IT and OT, where he's got a Windows XP or a Windows 7 workstation connected to a £1 million nuclear plant or a wind farm or a submarine or MRI scanner. And guess what? You can't upgrade it because the software that runs it, maintains it, and manages it only runs on that operating system. With our engagement in OEM relationships we're building with hardware vendors, you can buy a brand new hardware 5-year guarantee and warranty with the same parallel ports and run those same problem apps on Windows 11, passing and flying through any cyber accreditation by default. So we address a 20-year-old problem that no one else can fix. We extend the life of that legacy software, no matter whether you're healthcare, utilities, or retail or marketing. We also reduce the complexity and simplify the management. And Barry will elaborate on that a bit more about with some of our customers' use cases, how we've helped save them time and money, and more importantly, lower the overall cost of the solution. And that's exactly what we do for a procurement manager. But for procurement managers, we help address the out of support costs of running legacy applications. We reduce the cost associated with application delivery, because in essence, we deliver applications. So we're seeing a big uplift from our channel partner community coming to us and saying, our customers on Citrix, our customers on VMware, they've had a renewal, it's too expensive, can you help? Yes, the answer is yes. We're a fraction of the cost with a fraction of the back-end infrastructure. And for a procurement, we will lower that cost substantially. Again, we've got some examples of how we did that when Barry talks through some of our use cases. So in summary, yeah, we are a high return on investment when adopted. We fix a lot of the challenges been around for 20 years or so, and we're a very low cost solution. We're not expensive to manage, we're not expensive to run or deploy. So Barry, I'm going to hand over to you at this point, and you can talk through how we address some of those challenges that I've described. Barry.
What we have here is the typical use cases for Droplet and what we address within our customer base. The Windows upgrade piece, Derek's already highlighted the size of the prize there and what's available both on the server side and on the end user compute side. And we have compatibility that will take any x86 process, any 64-bit process, being able to upgrade it, being able to move it forward to that Windows 11 journey, if that's what your customers are on, or they can take it to another operating system. They can run on Linux, they can run on Mac, they can run on Chromebook. There's a whole ROI story over to the right around possibly doing that, because we can run the Windows applications in those different environments. From the accreditation piece, we've got lots of referenceability across all of the different cyber accreditations that are out there, whether it be NIST2, whether it be Cyber Essentials Plus, which are the main two, DORA now in the finance world. So we're happily go through with you. We're not everything to those accreditations. There are other things that you need to do to comply, or your customers need to be able to comply with those standards. But from an application delivery point of view, we absolutely, because of our micro isolation, air-gapped container, we can tick the boxes for all of those standards, right up to, in some cases, we're deploying across some military installations that have some high sensitivity. And let's look at that journey and take that use case on. So we had a catering business that supplies their goods and services to that particular industry. They had a challenge. They'd gone through their best due diligence process. They'd upgraded their app via app packaging. They put it into MSIX with app attach. It was Windows 10 at the time. And then they came to their pen test, which they have to have every 3 months because of the sensitive area in which they're deployed. The pen tester was able to elevate his rights through bad code in the application space, utilize the API structure and the SDK structure to then go down into the underlying operating system and break out onto the network with elevated rights and privileges. Hence, it failed the pen test. Rinse, repeat, put it inside Droplet, and we've happily passed those pen tests, happily helped them with their accreditation for the last 4 to 5 years, being that every 3 months. The other piece around the secure remote access and how we're able to offer a secure remote access for all your applications, that's really on the Citrix journey. And we can both integrate into Citrix if that's the customer's journey, but it doesn't support legacy applications. We can slipstream ourselves into AVD, for example, as well, if that's the journey, because they have a license through their Microsoft license that you've already sold them, they get access to AVD. That may be their endpoint of choice. They want to deliver a virtual endpoint. And we can absolutely support the applications that then don't run in those environments into that use case there. Likewise, what we've done with some of our nuclear customer, a large nuclear energy firm here in the UK, is we were able to actually migrate them away in their entirety away from their Citrix estate to the point where they now deliver their application through Droplet. That was a nice, easy process. We have automated tools that can take them in a very smooth manner, stripping out the Citrix components, delivering back their app challenge in a more secure remote access, similar kind of way. The flexibility around how Droplet deploys means that we have lots of different use cases in lots of different ways. We can centralize, deliver remote applications through more app streaming in a traditional VDI sense. We can also deliver outside on the edge, as we do in the operational technology space there, that's saying where we would, in that use case, I'll talk about a customer that we have that's in that particular space where they have critical national infrastructure, SCADA devices connected to an operational technology piece of software that then drives the wind farm or the solar farm operation. They were under attack from a state level actor attack where they'd locked down at a local level. Because the customer that we deal with had deployed Droplet in this NeverTrust model that I'll describe in more detail in a moment, we prevented a 0-day state actor attack in this particular use case where we trust nothing from the outside, even though it got through things like Checkpoint, things like Trim Micro, we were able to block it because we never trust any external source. More about that a little bit later. The use case on the data center migration, we sit as a layer above the hypervisor, above the operating system, such that all the complexities of when you do migrations from one area to another, we don't have all the complications that other projects have, because we've taken care of the underlying stitching. We run in every single environment. As Derek said, doesn't matter what the hypervisor is, doesn't matter what the cloud is, it can be bare metal. We run in each of those different scenarios, and the commonality is the Droplet layer. And because the Droplet layer is consistent across all those different platforms, we are a better way of doing a true migration piece where it is just a file copy process. In the world of this use case that we dealt with, an American firm that had data in a St. Petersburg data center, they had 1,000 VMs. They didn't really know what talked to what, in what way. And the complexity of being able to take them away from that St. Petersburg data center, which ran on VMware, to Azure London, and Microsoft were fronting a lot of the cost for this, hence why the appetite was there to go to Azure, as opposed to just taking it VMware to VMware. The complexity of the restitching of that, the partner reckoned it would take them 10 months to achieve. We were able to achieve the whole process, go in, convert it into Droplet. It then became a true file copy. And then it was about the pipe, the file size, and the copy process over to Azure London with no changes having to be made. The whole process took 6 weeks as opposed to 10 months. So massive uptick on that flexibility of migration. You could take that further when each year they could look strategically at where their costs sit. Is it more expensive to be running where they are as opposed to another cloud? If they're running in Droplet, it's easy to migrate. And you can set strategies up where you have cold spares in different clouds, in different things for high availability, similar to what we do for the energy firm, which runs across Amazon, runs across AWS, has a on-premise, and we load balance across all those environments, with Droplet being the common source. The one thing that we managed to achieve on the return on investment in that particular use case with the energy firm, they were running 300 servers. They're now running on 60 servers. The way that we're multi-session capable containers, the way we have a very lightweight setup with less components needed on the back end to Citrix, meant we were able to significantly reduce that footprint and furthermore on that return of investment. The other one on return on investments were those Windows upgrades. If you repackage an app, if you refactor an app, make it run in a different context. That's expensive and difficult, whereas Droplet isn't, and it's far easier to do. Next slide, Derek. So just to summarize where our key pieces to look for will be in those legacy debt pieces, in those Citrix farm estates where perhaps they're not as happy as they used to be with the service, and you're not making as much margin as partners on selling their service. Droplet's margin rich, as Derek obviously presented up front, and it's a better way to take them forward. And typically to take a Citrix farm, convert it, talking a day, maybe 2 days for us. And we take a like-for-like conversion, strip the Citrix elements out and deliver that back. Similarly, with legacy debt, we can take any of their legacy debt that's listed on the left-hand side, plus others that aren't any x86 or 64-bit process we can run. We can take that forward to a modern operating system in any cloud, on any hypervisor, on any endpoint device you choose, with integration points into the serial ports, the PCI bus cards, the weird and wacky that we see in manufacturing and OT. We can ingest all of those different elements into Droplet, lock them down in a secure manner, and run them offline if that's the use case that's needed. Next slide, Derek. On the compliance side as well, we absolutely meet all of those new standards there. The DORA standards, CAF now, with NHS having to be CAF compliant, for example. NIS2, we've got lots of referenceable customers where, as I say, we can't rubber stamp that we are CAF accredited or that we're NIS2 accredited or DORA accredited, but we have referenceable customers that when they've inserted our technology, and as Derek outlined earlier in the presentation, the reason they can't, in some cases, meet those is because they're running those legacy debt assets that you see on the left. We can absolutely take them forward and make them compliant into these standards for your customer base. We're no stranger to mission critical applications. If I take one of the largest roadside assistance companies that we deal with, where we take their mission critical application that is a 24/7, 365 application that relies on it working to be able to distribute their cars, be able to take in inbound calls. And this is an app that's run inside Droplet for more than 7 years now. It just works. It just runs. We're no stranger to that mission critical need of that application. It's typically what we get involved with because it starts off as a standard piece of software. Because of enterprise customers and their size, it bends out of shape and no longer fits an easy upgrade path because they've customized it too much, or it's been custom written for them. On those applications, we can control the data paths to the nth degree. So per application stack, it can only talk to the data it should do and nothing else. I'm totally locking it away. We take away the admin rights from the user as well in the context of that, so they can't then elevate their privileges and break out, similar to the use case of app packaging. And it's why app packaging is now a fail in some of those compliance standards if your app is not in receipt of patches and updates. We can sit, I've already covered this off really, in any endpoint device, any hypervisor, offline at the edge, on bare metal. You choose what makes sense for your use case and what you need to deploy from an endpoint device. And we lock it away. So only the apps that are supposed to be seen on that endpoint device are what's seen. The software compatibility from the application side of our business, we micro isolate, not just at a network layer like the NSXs of this world, but at an application layer as well. We own the network as well, which I'll come on to in a moment. But we can micro isolate each of the different application sets away. So the biggest risk to any organization, and we are a security tool now. So although I've focused a little bit on the legacy side, this is more our security credentials coming out because we can run modern as much as we can run legacy. I like to use Outlook in this particular instance. It's the biggest risk to every single organization. It's the one app that brings the outsiders into the organization, with attachments, with bad links, the phishing emails, etc. So saying your security tools fail you, saying that Outlook layer actually goes down. Because of our micro isolation, it's in its own kernel space, it's in its own network area. There is no path route for it to then infect the rest of the organization. So all your ERP tier, your manufacturing tier, your databases, whatever it is you're running in a separate application tier would continue to run. And we're a container technology. So guess what? You can snapshot us. You can set aggressive RPOs and RTOs, very similar to the likes of Zerto do in some of their technologies, where they use containerization to snapshot and recover from. So we're the same. And you can be more aggressive or less aggressive depending on the application tier and its criticality and how fast data changes in it. So you'd want to be quite aggressive on the Outlook layer, for example. And then it's just a disk-to-disk copy to get them back up and running. And meanwhile, the rest of the organization has zero downtime and zero impact to the rest of the organization. So the business keeps up and running while the emails are down, but nothing else gets affected. The network layer that we own our own network overlay that has the ability to do quantum bit encryption, but GA in the product today does military grade encryption. We encrypt traffic. We wrap a bubble of security around what the endpoint access is on the application stack at the end user compute side. We wrap a bubble of protection around the server side. We then control the traffic and where it can go. So given down to locking it down to only go to that IP address on that given port and nothing else. So we lock those root statements down on that application tier. So it can't then be used as a breakout. What I like to use as a very common one that we fix is the Internet Explorer issue, where they're locked to a certain older version of IE. In that route, if they still need to persist IE, they can lock that away in Droplet. It's then being able to be controlled on its route to only be able to interact with where it's supposed to. So it can't be used as an attack mechanism to get things out from an external source to go out onto the internet. It has no way to do that. And remember, we've removed the admin rights from the user context as well. So he can't elevate his privileges and then start to work his magic to break and hack out of Droplet. They also encrypt that data in between. So if you're running insecure statements across that network, then what we do is we lock down any man-in-the-middle attack because of the modern-day encryption that we have in the network space. And that then stops that particular WikiLeaks Snowden-type attack of the man-in-the-middle attack that can come. And if you look at TLS-1 that's still being used widely, or TLS 1.2 that's being used widely across networks at the moment, because it's wrapped in a modern-day encryption tunnel of Droplet, we then protect against that. We then stop that type of attack vector. The perimeter defense is what makes us different to every single other security tool that you currently deploy or your customers deploy. We never trust. That's the trademark of where this comes from. We never trust any external source. It's immediately blocked. It's immediately black hole. We do not rely on identity. So identity is not something that Droplet relies on for its security. Every other security tool relies on some form of credential-based management access, and identity is key to that. There's IAM solutions that look after how the identity is controlled and managed. We don't have to rely on any of that. We just see everything as external traffic. We will block and drop it. You look at the RSA hack of 2 or 3 years ago. Once you've compromised the algorithm, you're coming straight through. Again, within a Droplet world, I don't care. I don't care if you're supposed to talk to what's inside Droplet. If it's not been built inside the Droplet bubble and boundary, then it doesn't come in. We never trust anything. This is how we prevented the state actor attacks from successfully getting through defenses. And now we'll look at the human layer. So Gartner say this is the responsible part of 80% or over 80% of all breaches. Look at all the tools they have to manage. In typical security standards, you've got lots of different parts from your firewalls, they all need configuring. And there's a lot of complexity in that. And it only takes the human to fat finger one config file to then leave a backdoor open and then allow the bad actor to come inside your network and start to do his bad stuff. We've alleviated that because we don't give any of those rights to the human. We don't rely on his admin credentials. Don't care if he's got the right admin. He can't then come through the perimeter defense. And this is partly then where we protect against the other human element, which is, let's say, a Russian spy inside the MOD, for example, that bad actor inside your organization trying to do harm from within. Well, we've taken away his admin rights. We've controlled the data paths. We've controlled the applications you can see. We've locked the network down, and the perimeter defense stops him from getting anything from outside in. It's a very unique proposition. In fact, we paid our money with Gartner at the beginning of this year, and they say it's a unique proposition. The NCSE, who we dealt with at the beginning of last year and spent 3 months with, say it's a unique proposition, a different way to do security. And we are the only, according to them, we are the only single product that sits across the traditional 7-layer OSI security model. There is no other that's there. And we've reduced the complexity of achieving that security boundary and reduced the cost. It's important to say security is about layers. And I'm not ever saying that anybody should take away security they have. But we're another layer they don't have, where they should add this security because we're doing it different. We're protecting them in a very unique way for both that legacy layer that we can help them with, but also for modern. With this, I'm going to hand back to Derek just to summarize what we've gone through.
Barry, so just to reiterate that, what Barry was just saying there, if you look at that slide that I had with the challenges, the operating system challenges and the cyber accreditation challenges, we're the layer that will help you get modernized to new platforms and cyber accredited. That's what we can do with our one single product. I'm just going to go back to this slide as well, where we touched on these earlier on, but again, just to summarize what Droplet does in each of these pillars, we enable Windows migrations from old to new. We accelerate cyber accreditation. We simplify application delivery in comparison to the VMwares and the Citrix of this world. We help secure and extend the life of those 20-year-old applications that are running in the world of OT. And we modernize them to new hardware and platforms. And we help reduce the complexity on the back end for the admins and the IT managers. More importantly, we're a low-cost, high-return on investment solution. Anybody at all who has purchased Droplet, especially customers who have lasted 5, 6, 7 years, the feedback is very positive in the return on investment. So thanks very much for taking time out today to join today's webcast. On the screen, you'll see we have our website. Visit our website for more information. There's lots of use cases, white papers, videos, which you'll find also on our YouTube channel as well. The YouTube channel, again, for your education yourself on what the actual problem is and how we fix it, but more importantly, they're customer friendly as well. So you can use the information on those websites to send to your customers, educate your internal team. So I'm going to pass over to Raj now and just to wrap up. And again, as I say, from Droplet, I'd just like to thank you for taking the time out.
Okay, thank you, Derek and Barry. Are there any questions from the audience?
One thing I would like to say, Raj, just as we wrap up here, is you're our sales organization. The channel, as Derek said, is our only route to market. Every deal we've ever done has a channel member involved, and therefore we need your help. And we're able to offer that help, making things simple to how to position Droplet, how to identify Droplet deals. We're happy to come on site, do on-site training with your teams, give you email templates, run campaigns. So from that point of view, anything you need, please reach out.